Hi everyone and welcome back to a new tutorial. Before we start this tutorial, I just want to thank you guys so much for 4K subscribers. It's such a great milestone to hit and it didn't take that long. So yeah, thank you guys so much for that. And also, before I start this tutorial, I just want to let you guys know that now I have Patreon. So if you guys want to support me there, you can find all of the tutorial files in the $10 tiers. And with that being said, let's start. So as the title says, we will make a simple code system in this tutorial. So here's how we will do that. Basically, we're gonna have a screen GUI in here. Let's rename it to codes. And you wanna press the plus button and you wanna add a frame. Now this frame will be the frame where we will have all of the code section. So we're gonna put this right here, center it. A really easy way to center is to set the anchor point to 0.5, 0, or 0.5, and it will automatically set it to 0.5, 0.5, and then I set the position to 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. Now you don't have to set the anchor point, but it really depends on the anchor point. Just center it manually, I guess. And now we're gonna go to plugins, or let's do it without using a plugin this time. We're gonna set the size to scale. So change the size to 0.3, 0, 0.3, 0, and that will just scale it up, convert it to scale. And I'm just going to make my codes frame right here. I'm also going to make it a bit smaller, and now it should be converted to scale. Okay, so it's centered, and now I will just finish some UI design real quick, and I'll be back when I am done with that. Alright, so I am back with some very simple UI. So all I did here is rename the frame to codes frame, and added a button, renamed it to redeem. Make sure you spell it exactly like I did. So REDEEM, and make sure that the R is capital. So now all we have to do is add a text box. Now here's the important part. You have to add the text box, put it wherever you want. Let's put it something like right here, and let's make it a bit bigger, and let's put it right here. I'm just going to put it to center it, and set the background transparency to, let's keep it at 0, and I'm going to add a little UI corner to it, and I'm going to convert it to scale. Now I will have the link to this plugin in the description. Let me show you what it does. So now it's not converted to scale. It will look like this on phone. Let's change to any phone, to let's say an iPhone. Let's go for an iPhone X, and it will look like that. So this plugin will make it so that it looks normal on any device. So now if you go ahead, select the unit conversion, press scale, it will make it look like that. Now this still isn't really the best thing, so make sure to press add constraint. It's also included in the plugin. I'm going to do that for all of my UIs. So let me just select this, and this, and add a constraint. So it will add one for each of my UIs, and I'm also going to change the text to let's change the text color. Actually, never mind, text scale to true. Let's change the font to something like Verdoka one, and I'm also going to change the placeholder text. So search for placeholder text, and you want to put that to your code here. Let's add a little dot, your code here, and now I'm going to change the placeholder text color. I'm going to have it at something like that, and when you try to type something on it, as you can see, that happens. Now we got our frame, so all I'm going to do right now is duplicate this redeem button, put it in the screen GUI, and let's fix some stuff here. Let's make it smaller, rename it to codes. Let me just put that right here. Set the text to codes, and I'm going to name it to open underscore codes. Now this is going to be a really simple opening and closing script. So I'm just going to change the visible property of this to false, and we will be adding a script right here. So I had a local script, rename this to codes underscore handler, or maybe codes underscore main. And in here, we're gonna have some variables. So we're gonna have a local variable for the player service. So players is equal to and game colon get service and players. Now that we have player service, let's actually add some comments right here. So this will be services, and I think we're gonna need players, and that's literally it. Now let's think of this. So will we need players? We don't really need the player service, so we're gonna use some references instead. So references, or maybe just like that. We don't really need that comment right now. So we'll have our UIs. So local codes frame, codes frame, and we're gonna set that to script.parent. Now let me show you what this does. So script.parent is the parent of the script that your script. It's basically, let's say your script is the child of the screen GUI, then the parent is the codes. So if I drag this script inside of the codes frame, is now, if you script.parent will return the codes frame. Now that's not what we want, so we will do script.parent colon wait for child. Now make sure you do a wait for child because of well, client. So we are on the client, so basically you're always going to need a wait for child for your UIs. That's very recommended. You can fix it though. I think Slightnick has a tutorial on that, but what we'll be doing now is just some simple wait for childs. So codes frame, and after doing that we'll do a local open underscore codes is equal to script.parent on wait for child and open codes. Now we will do a local redeem button btn is equal to codes frame gonna wait for child. And also I forgot to explain what wait for child does. It will basically wait for the object to be loaded into the game. So codes frame gonna wait for child, and let's wait for the I think it was code redeem. So redeem, and now we're gonna need the text box. So local text box is equal to and codes frame colon wait for child, and I think it was text box. Now I'm not going to bother renaming that, but I'm just going to keep it as text box. Okay, so now we're gonna have a bunch of functions here. So we're gonna have a function check, or let's not have any functions. Let's just do redeem or local function redeem underscore code, and we will just put that right here. Now in here we will hook up this function. So redeem button dot mouse button one click connect function, or actually connect redeem code. Now in this redeem code function we will we'll check if the text box text is not equal to nil. So if text box dot text is not equal to nil or is not equal to nil, then, or actually let's check if the text is set to nil. So print game dot start GUI. You might not know what I'm doing. Dot start GUI starter GUI dot screen dot codes dot mainframe dot text box. No, dot I think it was codes frame dot text box dot text. Now I think this will print nil. Also, these are just some plugin errors. Okay, so codes frame is not a valid member of local script. Oh, well, that's a problem. Dot mainframe dot codes dot mainframe. Alright, so that should fix it. So it printed nothing, which means it does not set it to nil. So we're gonna put an empty string or text box dot text is equal to nil. So just to make sure. Now here we checked if the text is not equal to nil, and now we're gonna add a folder inside of replicated storage, and we're gonna rename this to codes. And we're gonna add a remote event, remote function instead, and we're gonna rename this to redeem remote, or remote, not remote. And we'll also add a module script. Now we're gonna rename this module script to codes, and we'll just do so we have the codes module script, and let's rename it to codes underscore module instead, module. And what we'll be doing is the local result is equal to, and we're gonna get replicated storage. So really sorry about that, I forgot about it. So local replicated storage is equal to game get service replicated storage. Okay, so replicated storage dot remote or dot codes dot redeem remote invoke ser, and then we're gonna send text box dot text. So that will send the text box as text, and all we have to do now is check what this returns. So all you have to do is do if result is equal to something, then. Now don't worry, we will change this something. So now on to the server-sided code. But before we go to the server-sided code, we'll make the codes module where we will store all of our codes. So we're gonna delete whatever is in here, and we'll do local codes is equal to and a table. Now inside of that table, for now it will be nil, nothing, and we're gonna return codes. Now that we returned codes, what we'll be doing is putting another table, and we will set this to, or actually let's make a dictionary. So let's rename this to test code 1 or test code. Test code is a capital C for now, just so our players don't get confused, and we're gonna set that to another table. Now inside of that other table, we'll have a thing called currency, and we're gonna set that to maybe points. I'll show you what that does later. And we'll have a semi-comma at the or just a comma, I think. Yeah, a comma should work. Okay, so don't do the comma in there. So we're gonna have our currency, and we will give it whatever it gives. So we're gonna have this called gives, and we're gonna make it so that it gives you something like 10 points. So 10. Now I'm going to have another code. So copy this, put it right here, and we're gonna rename this to, let's pick a YouTuber. Let's, for example, let's just put anyone. So let's do a code Polaris Prog. And we're gonna set the currency this time to coins, or maybe cash. And again, I'll show you what all of this means. Okay, so we did that. Now we're gonna add a script in server script service, and you want to rename it to codes underscore server. And in here we're gonna have some variables. So local replicated storage is equal to game get service replicated storage. now we have replicated storage. We're gonna do local codes is equal to replicated storage, or local codes folder is equal to replicated storage colon wait for, or we are in the server, so we're just going to do dot codes and local redeem remote is equal to, and codes folder dot redeem remote, and then we're gonna get codes underscore module, and we're gonna set that to codes folder, or require codes folder dot codes. Let's just copy the name of this, so codes underscore module, put it right there, and then we're gonna do a function. So we're gonna do redeem code dot on server invoke, and we're gonna set that to a function, and it will return the player and the text. So we're gonna just do that to the text. And now that this is well done, let me check if I'm still recording. Yes, yes I am. So redeem remote on server invoke is equal to a function, and we will do local code is equal to nil. Now we're gonna loop through the codes that we have. So for I comma code or comma v in next, and we will do codes module dot codes. I think we renamed it to codes dot codes do. Is it like this? Oh, cancel. What did I just do? Okay, so I think we are returning the codes. Okay, so I just have to loop through the codes module. Let's just try to print v, and let's just do print, or actually let's do print, and we're gonna print I and print v, and currency. Let's see what that does. Will it return an error, or will it work? So these are some plugin errors, so we're gonna turn off the output. And now I forgot to add the script that will open and close, so I'm just going to make the frame manually visible, and we'll press redeem, and well, nothing happens. And that is because, let's try printing. Oh wait, I forgot to set the text to something. Let's just clear the output again. I think it's my smooth camera plugin that does that. Let's make this visible, and let's set the text to Polaris. Let's go press redeem, and oh, it does work. Great. Okay, so that does work. It does return the codes we have, but instead of just printing them, which is pretty useless, what we'll be doing is, if I is equal to code to text and not player codes confined first child text, then we're gonna print player or plr dot name dot dot, and we're gonna concatenate it with player dot name has redeemed the code. And what we'll be doing is checking if now we checked if it's a valuable code and that they have not redeemed it yet. And in here we're gonna do we're gonna basically just do stuff. And else if I is equal to the text and player codes find first child text, then we'll print code already redeemed. Or actually, what am I doing? Okay, so just remove this, please. Remove this, and we're gonna put this right here for now. And if I is equal to text, then code is equal to and b. Now that's literally it. Now we will just put this here. So if code is equal to text and not player codes find first child text, and in here we're gonna check else if the code is equal to the text and we find the player's code, then code already redeemed. Else if code is not equal, or if text, else if code is equal to nil, then print code does not exist. Now we're gonna do if code is not equal to nil here, then, and we're gonna do the same thing here, and that will work. Now that does work. Now we'll go ahead and play the game. And again, I forgot to make it so that you can open and close the codes frame, but that's not a problem, because we'll go in our codes frame, make it visible, and we'll put a code. So we're gonna put just P, or maybe the letter A, and that should print code does not exist. Now before it does this out, I forgot to do something, which is create a player added event. So in here we're gonna get the player service, so local players is equal to game colon get service players, and what we'll be doing is adding a function right here, so local function player added, and it will return the player, and we will create a folder, so local codes is equal to instance.new, and we're going to create a folder. Now we're going to do codes.name is equal to codes, and codes.parent is equal to player. Now that we have that done, we'll hook up the player added event, so players.player added connect and player added, and that should return the player. Now we'll do a for underscore comma player in pairs players get players do player added or a spawn function, maybe a core time, but for now I'm just going to use a spawn function. And sorry about that. Player added and the player. Now we have that done. We will just put away something like 1 second, and if we go ahead and play the game, it should work just fine. So if you go ahead, we have a codes folder, which is great. Now we will make the code string visible again, and we're just going to clear the output for now, and we'll try to write the letter A again, and it prints code does not exist. And now we're gonna get an actual code. So for example, test code, and players pro has redeemed a code. And if you redeem it again, it will print it again, because we did not create a value for, well, the player. Sorry about that. Now we will just so we got the player, and let's just put a space right here, and has with not a capital H. Now we're gonna remove this do stuff thing, and instead of just doing stuff, we'll create a value. So local val is equal to instance.new, and we're gonna create a string value. Now we're gonna do val.name is equal to code or text. Now val.parent is equal to the player codes. And remember, we created a codes folder when they joined the game, so this should work. And then we'll do player, and we're gonna get their leader stats. You can change this to whatever you want. Here you can award the player. Now if you have a bit of knowledge of scripting, you'll probably be able to make it so that it gives you a pet or something like that. For now, we're just going to make it so that it gives you leader stats. So the tutorial is not going to be as long as it might be if I do that. Okay, sorry about that. So we'll basically award the player, and player leader stats and code currency. So currency dot value plus equal. This plus equal basically means player code dot value currency dot value plus that, or is equal to, wait, let me just re-explain this. So this is basically the same as, well, let's firstly finish this. So code let's do gives. Okay, so that should be working now. Let me explain what this does. So this plus equal thing basically means this. Let me just finish this real quick. It's basically a shortened version of this. Instead of having to do all of this, you can just do plus equal, which is really, really useful. Okay, so that should work now. All we have to do is to play the game and see if this works. Or actually, we forgot to make some test leader stats for now. So we're gonna do local leader stats is equal to instance.new. We're gonna create a quick folder. Leader stats.name is equal to leader stats. Make sure you spell it right. Leader stats.parent is equal to player, and then local points is equal to instance.new. And we're gonna create a int value. Now we're gonna do points.name is equal to points, points, and points, points dot value is equal to 0, and points, oh god, points dot parent is equal to the leader stats. And then we're gonna create coins. So instead of points, we're gonna change this to coins. We're gonna copy that, paste it here, copy that, paste it here, copy that, paste it here. Should be working now. And if you go ahead and just play the game right now, it should work perfectly. Okay, now you can go ahead in your player GUI, set the code's visible property to true, and if you go ahead and type in a random code, so just something like that, or test, it will print code does not exist. And if we print a code, if we give it a code that actually exists, so something like Larry's Prog, I don't know why I had to copy my name, it will give us an error. Okay, so very easy to fix. We'll give it a leader stats that does not actually exist, so we're gonna change this to coins. And now that should, wait, before I play the game again and I have to, well, make the frame visible and stuff, I'm just going to add a quick script right here. And script.parent.mouse button one click, mouse button one click on connect function, script.parent.parent.codes frame dot visible equals not script.parent.parent.vis codes frame dot visible. Should be working now. Very quick and very easy. And let's just clear out this output full of plugin errors, and we'll just put a random code. So S code does not exist. Now we'll put Polaris prog, and it should give me some coins. And as you can see, it gave me 10 coins, and now it says code already redeemed. And if you go ahead and redeem the test codes that we put here, so test codes, and apparently I spelled it wrong, so it should print has redeemed the code. And if we redeem it again already redeemed, which is really nice. Now if they leave it and rejoin, they will be able to, well, redo the code, and it's very simple to fix that. All we have to do is to get data store service. So local data store service is equal to game get service data store service, and local my data key is equal to data store service get data store, and we're gonna get the test data, so data. Now in here, in the player added event, we're gonna do a pcall function, and then we're gonna have a player removing event. So game players player removing on connect function, and we're gonna get the player. Now this is very simple. We'll just create a table for the codes, and we're gonna set that to an empty table for now, and we're gonna have a pcall function, or for now we're not going to have the pcall function. We will just do my data key set async and plr user id and codes, comma, and we're gonna send the codes. Now this will not work, so we have to give it some data. So that's really simple. We just have to do for underscore comma code in pairs plr codes get children do table.insert code comma codes. Now we inserted the code, maybe code.name, yes, code.name, and we're gonna send the table of the codes. Now that should work. Now in our player added event, we're gonna remove the pcall and local data, and we're gonna send that to no. So data is equal to, and data store or my data key get async and plr player user id and we're gonna get the codes. So codes. Now make sure you don't put the comma and then the table, and in here we're gonna do if data is not equal to nil, then and for I comma v in pairs data do, and local value is equal to instance.new, and we're gonna create a string value, and we're gonna do val.name is equal to v, and val.parent is equal to codes. Now this will not work if you don't do this. So go to home, game settings, security, enable studio access to API services. Now you want to go ahead, play the game, and this should be working perfectly. So we're just going to redeem a code. So we're going to put random codes. Code does not exist, does not create the value. We're going to put a code, Polaris prog, works. So no need to test another one because we already know that that works. But now we're gonna leave the game and rejoin. Now, table expected got string, so that's really simple. Oh, that's very simple to fix. I reverted it, so we're gonna do codes, comma, code dot name. And then I forgot to do this. Game combined to close function. Wait 2 seconds. This will just wait for the server to end. And we're gonna clear out the output. And we're gonna redeem a random code. Code does not exist. Let's redeem Polaris prog. Player has redeemed the code. And now if you go ahead and leave the game, it should freeze for around 2 seconds. And it should set my data. So let's go ahead and join the game again. And as you can see, we have all of the codes saved. Now if you go ahead and just add the code again, code already redeemed. Great. Test codes, because I think that's an actual code. And Prog has redeemed the code. And if we leave, rejoin, it's saved. So players prog codes, our codes did save. Okay, now that's very simple. But how about if the data stores return an error? Well, that's very simple. We're just going to add a pickle function right here. So just do pickle function and wrap everything on a pickle. Do the same thing on the player added. So pickle function. Just do that right here. And now we need some feedback for the player. So that's really simple to fix. Go in here when they redeem, when they redeem a code, all we have to do is return code redeemed. Now in here we're gonna return code already redeemed, and let's actually remove this capital R from here. And in here we're gonna return code does not exist. Now inside of here, because we are returning the results, we'll check if the results are equal to code redeemed. Then we're gonna do a spawn function, and we're gonna do text, what's it called? I think it was the redeem button.text is equal to code redeemed. Code successfully redeemed. And we're gonna wait around 0.5 seconds or 0.8. Then we're gonna set the code to just redeem as it was. So now we're gonna do else if result is equal to code already redeemed. Then so copy that, then spawn function and code already redeemed, which is pretty simple. And in here another else if result is equal to code does not exist. Then spawn function again, and code.text is equal to code does not exist. How great is that? Now this will give us a little problem. I need to reset my data to test this. So I'm just going to put data 2, just to change the data key. And this should be good. So we'll just put, A. Code does not exist. Now we'll just put Polaris prog. Code successfully redeemed. Now we're gonna just put Polaris prog again. Code already redeemed. Now we'll just put test codes. Code successfully redeemed. Test code already redeemed. Now you can go ahead, rejoin. It will still work perfectly. And we have the codes saved. We're gonna put Polaris prog, and as you can see, this works like a charm. So if this helped, make sure to subscribe. I think this is going to be the end of today's tutorial. If this helped, make sure to subscribe, like the video. Why am I stuck? Share it with your friends, and I will see you all in the next tutorial. Bye.